History Center.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Sam, and today we have two very special guests with us today, Sam and Sam. Can you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Hello, well, I am Sam, and I work at Disney Channel. I'm the head of marketing for Disney, and I hope that we have a really good conversation today.
Hey, History Center watchers. I'm also Sam, and I am the CEO of Amazon.com. I am an internet and online advertising specialist and analyst.
Alright, so today's topic is going to be analyzing the top 5 trends throughout advertising history. Before we go through that, I think we should go over the brief history for a little less informed viewers.
People who've never watched television before. Let's go.
Okay, so we know that back in the colonial times, it started with Benjamin Franklin's Pennsylvania Gazette, and we know that the penny press was also very popular. But after newspapers and magazines,
we had the much better medium of television and radio. This allowed for people to be contacted directly within their homes as long as they had a television.
So we know that the radio was really influential in FDR's fireside chats, for example.
What I find more interesting, however, is the use of internet advertising, the use of niche marketing, and actually using data and statistics in people's personal lives to target more specific populations for more effective advertising.
So today's topic, we are going to be analyzing the top 5 trends throughout history. As you're watching, please stay tuned and please follow us on Twitter and upload comments on Facebook as usual. Let's get to it. Number 5 has been determined to be humor. Can you tell us a little bit more about the trends of humor in advertising?
Well, I think it's very important to look at the beginning of humor. You see the first type of playing cards that would make fun of different famous figures, such as Mark Twain. And these were very comedical. They were overdrawn, such as political cartoons, but they were meant to sell. They were meant to sell and advertise for different products. And this happened around the 1800s. Back to you, Sam.
You're right. They did make caricatures, as you can see on our image that we have above. We can see that Mark Twain is depicted as a funny baby. Maybe that was a humor that made sense back then. But you're right, they did make fun of famous people, and it was to sell products. And so after that, my notes tell me that in 1976, Xerox had an ad that was the first instance of irrelevant humor. Can you tell us something more about that?
Yeah, so basically advertisement sort of shifted to a more genuine appeal with true humor that most families could relate to, and then it sort of shifted to a more relevant humor where it was intended to capture the audience's eyes so that they would remember their products, remember the brand name.
Could you do a big job for me? The Xerox 9200 duplicating system, unlike anything we've ever made, feeds and cycles originals, has a computerized programmer that controls the entire system, can duplicate, reduce, and assemble a virtually limitless number of complete sets, and does it all at an incredible 2 pages per second.
Here are your sets, Father. The 500 sets you asked for.
It's a miracle.
Honestly, it doesn't make sense to me though. I watched the commercial, it wasn't even that funny. It was all about a monk using the Xerox 360 to make 50 copies of a document. How is that memorable or funny?
Yeah, well, it's very funny. Alright, I will not be insulted on my profession. My profession involves irrelevant ads, and the point of it is so that you remember them. Because the most important part of advertising is that you can remember the product, so whenever you go to some place and you can buy it, you'll think, that's the one I know about.
Well, I do have in my notes also that you were behind the Super Bowl Heinz ad. How did you even come up with that? It's a bunch of dogs running to people in ketchup costumes. How is that funny?
Well, the point was to make sure that it was funny, it was catchy, it was short, and you remembered it. And everybody remembers dogs, everybody likes people, everybody likes Heinz, that's why they all remember Heinz dogs.
So what is internet's role in humor?
That's an interesting question. So internet sort of plays off of that idea of irrelevancy.
Not as well, but
that's arguable. And the use of just sort of quick attention and quick media to capture consumers' attention. So I guess you can see in the early 1990s, email sort of played upon the use of internet spam.
Oh, spam. Oh, too much in my
Yep.
folders.
Trick banner ads. It sort of has provocative images, maybe sort of quick things that may not be funny on the outside, but may just catch the eye.
So we're going to move on to number 4. Alright, so number 4 is creativity. Can you tell us about the history of how creativity started in advertising?
So creativity has always been an important part of advertising, but it didn't really come into play until later in the Gilded Age. What we see is that creativity became more important as the creative team came about around the 50s and the 40s and 50s. And this is because groups would come together and work on a creative idea such as Heinz ketchup and the dogs. But it'd be like that idea, and it was well portrayed inside Mad Men, a TV show that began to create a much more effective way of advertising and a better way of targeting in the same way that films were being written at the time period.
Isn't the first instance of the creative team approach the Volkswagen Think Small campaign? It was done by, I have in my notes, Joel Dane Bernbach, who, if you look at the image that we have on the screen, you show that the Beetle is shown with Think Small and is emphasizing the size of the car, which was new for the time. They started using words that previously had negative connotations and then putting it in a positive light, which I guess was a very effective campaign for the time.
Definitely was. Yeah. It was.
And so, actually, I also have in my notes that in 1951, a really interesting trend was the man in the Hathaway shirt. Funny story, the model walked into the studio and on a whim, he just bought an eye patch. And the Hathaway shirt company, they weren't even that popular before that. They sold shirts during the Civil War. But after that ad was released, every Hathaway shirt in New York City was sold out. And they became the #1 world's best-selling dress shirt company. And so I think that was the beginning of the story appeal, that people were wondering, like, what made him have that eye patch? And, like, what is the story behind it?
Yeah, I mean, that's very important for the time period. It's very important to today. For advertisement, we can now create stories, and we're able to connect with people through advertisement, especially on videos and television, most importantly.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. You draw parallels around this era to the Cultural Revolution of the 1960s. Sort of advertising marketing techniques used multimedia platforms to target the youth from the baby boom generation that now have more spending power and want to buy these more, I guess, materialistic and consumeristic products that people had to offer.
I think you're referring to the Creative Revolution, am I right?
Yes, that's what I meant.
Alright, and this period was also characterized by catchy slogans like Avis, we try harder, and Essos, put a tiger in your tank. Another characteristic was how they had memorable spokesperson. We know Pillsbury Doughboy started from this time, Maytag Repairman. Also, Ronald McDonald. Okay, so I got this from my sources, and Ronald McDonald in the 1960s was very creepy.
I mean, let's take a look at it.
Here he comes. There we go.
Why was the design like that?
It was a different time. There were more things were accepted during the time period, such as clowns or people looking strange. But TV came out with a new Ronald McDonald. He looked better than ever.
Alright, I think we can all agree on that. Alright, we are now going to go on a commercial break. Please don't go far.
It certainly is a big bun. It's a very big bun. Big fluffy bun. It's a very big fluffy bun.
Where's the beef? Some hamburger places give you a lot less beef on a lot of bun. Where's the beef? At Wendy's, we serve a hamburger we modestly call the single. And Wendy's single has more beef than the Whopper or Big Mac. At Wendy's, you get more beef and less bun. Hey, where's the beef? I don't think there's anybody back there. You want something better. You're Wendy's kind of people.